Let's do predictions. Let's make it our final thoughts at the same time. Charlie, I'm coming to you. I think we already have an idea who you think is going to win MLS Cup, but why don't you remind everybody that maybe didn't know?
Yes, I have Cincinnati upsetting New York Red Bulls. I have Nashville upsetting Galaxy. I have Austin beating RSL. I have Montreal beating Orlando City. I have New York City FC beating Inter Miami. And I have Dallas beating Minnesota. Then I have FC Dallas beating Austin. LAFC beating Nashville. So it's
I
LAFC,
love this, like a blow by blow over here.
Yeah, LAFC, Dallas, conference final. LAFC wins. Home field advantage, I think, plays a big role in LAFC getting to MLS Cup. And then on the other side, I have as my Eastern Conference final the Philadelphia Union versus Montreal. And Montreal, because they have beaten Orlando City, because they had to beat New York City FC, I think Montreal gets to MLS Cup final versus LAFC. And LAFC ends up
wow, look at that. I like that. Thank you for that, Charlie. I appreciate it. That's a good final thought, man. How about you, Heath? You're gonna give us a blow by blow. How do you think it's gonna go?
Okay, I'll give you that. Hold on, let me just go open up this
thing
again.
Get your bracket up.
Well, I've got LAFC winning their first round bye, going into the conference semifinals. I've got Nashville beating LA. I've got LAFC beating Nashville and going to the Western semifinal.
Okay, so that's
the conference final. Sorry, I've got Minnesota actually beating Dallas. Austin beating RSL then getting to the conference finals by beating Minnesota.
Wow.
So it'll be an LAFC Austin, which I don't generally like to go 1 and 2 seeds like that, but that's the way I see it playing out. Both high scoring teams. It's just a matter of whether or not they can actually tighten it up and play in tight circumstances. But they do both have the ability to get goals in tough moments. And then on the other side, I've got Philly taking on Cincinnati in the conference semifinals after Cincinnati beat Red Bull. NYCFC taking on Montreal after NYCFC obviously beating Miami and Montreal beating Orlando. And then from there, it's where it gets a little bit tricky for me. You know, I think I'm going to go with what Charlie said. Montreal going to the conference finals against a Philadelphia Union, and I'm.
So wait. You have 1-2 and 1-2 is your final four.
Yeah. I'm oddly.
Wow.
I'm just
Charlie, can you give him? Him some crap for that? Like he always gives you a hard time picking the favorites.
You know what? I'll take
1-2. Like there's no upsets.
No, the only other thing that I would go with is NYCFC beating Montreal in the conference semis.
The reigning MLS Cup champions, NYCFC.
And then do they beat the Union again?
And then the Union one was tough because last year they had 152 COVID cases and had to play with like replacements. But
Montreal beating them in PKs. That's what I think.
Yeah. I'll go with NYCFC then, just to shake it up for Jimmy because he doesn't like the 1-2s, and I'll go with Philadelphia Union winning that one, going to a final. Union versus LAFC. LAFC hosting
one
that
versus
one at home. And
you're going
LAFC
the chalk, as they say,
taking that one at home. Yeah.
You have LAC winning as well at home. MLS Cup final at the bank would be pretty sick.
I think it will be tough for the Union to go all the way. The way the Union are so good, and they were multiple COVID cases away from a final last year, and I think that was unfair. But LAFC are so deep right now that you can throw anything at them, and they can put up a different type of team that can challenge. And very, very unlikely that you have the 1-1, but that's what I'm going to go with.
No, it's
maybe
fair.
I'm a little too deep in the fact that close to Union and close to LAFC.
All right, Chuck's got to go. Chuck, we'll take off. I'm going to give you my bracket. We'll see you next week, Chuck. Thanks for everything. Enjoy your weekend or wherever you're going, and hope you wear a turtleneck.
Charlie, every day's a weekend for Charlie, Jimmy. You know, Charlie doesn't live for the weekend. He lives for the 7 days a week of which he is on vacation.
All right, so this is I'm kind of going very similar to you in some ways, Heath, a little bit more idealistic and more about what I want to see as opposed to maybe what will happen. I got LAFC and against LA Galaxy. I want to see El Tráfico in the conference semis. I want to see that. And then I want Dallas versus Austin in the other conference semi because I want to see a Texas derby. I just want to see those two derbies happen in the playoffs. I think it just would be cool for the culture, for the people. And then I think that LAFC will get past the Galaxy. It'll be a high-scoring affair because they always are.
I can't wait for that one, by the way. That's one that I'm already like planting seeds of, like, if anybody, I'm getting tickets. I
went to the one last time they played. It was 6-3. It was the most amazing game. Yeah, if it happens, I'm probably going to have to come down from San Francisco to make it happen. I want Austin to go through, but I got a sneaky feeling that Dallas might do it for whatever reason. So just to change it up and be a little bit different, I'll say LAFC versus FC Dallas in the conference final on the Western side. Philly versus Cincinnati. I think that Cincinnati's going to get past New York. Cincinnati are unbeaten in their last 13. I just like the vibes, and I want to see how it goes. And then I think Miami's going to upset NYCFC. I think that Miami's got a point to prove. I think Higuain's going to show up knowing that once he loses, that's the end of his career, and I think he's going to be ready to go, and I think he's going to have some magic in there. So that'll be my shock. Miami beating NYCFC, a 6 seed beating a 3 seed. I like Montreal a lot. So Montreal versus Miami. Montreal gets through. Philly gets past Cincinnati. So I have 1 versus 2 in the other side. I want to see that. Those have been the 2 best teams, and I want to see them compete against each other for a chance to get into the MLS Cup final.
If you real quick on your final thought on that, Jimmy, what's the one team that you feel the least confident predicting on because of you just haven't followed them as much, or you just aren't as in deep that you're like, this one could bite me?
I think LAFC could be that team. I love Steve Cherundolo. I mean, that guy is like a brother to me, probably to you, and to many others. He's just an awesome human being, and I think they've built a really great team. They got the Supporters Shield, as I mentioned to Kellen Acosta yesterday. Only 7 Supporters Shield winners have ever gone on to win MLS Cup out of 26 seasons. There's a curse there. I don't know. Maybe they have the guys to do it. It's clear on paper.
That's actually more than I thought, by the way. That's like more than 25%.
Yeah, but that's
right?
Yeah. But I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they got knocked out. I don't know, for whatever reason. I could just see them, the Mike Tyson quote, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, and then LAFC is going to come in, somebody's going to punch them. And not that they won't have the answers. Maybe the other goalkeeper will be standing on its head. Maybe they'll hit the cross. It'll just be something like they dominated, but they just didn't win the game. Right. On paper, they should win. I think they're going to win. I'm predicting them to get to the final. I think they'll beat FC Dallas to get there.
Yeah.
And then I actually might go, just for fun, go with an Eastern team. It just would be cool to see the Philadelphia Union fans win something of consequence. So I'm going to, and the players, of course, and what Jim Curtin's built. And I want to see him get rewarded for everything that they're doing to build an incredible club in MLS. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia Union to win MLS Cup, and I hope that I didn't just jinx them.
I like that. It's a good shout for sure. They've got the best defense. They're so good. They scored insane.
Their identity is clear.
Yeah.
Their identity is clear. They know exactly who they are and what they're about. And I think that other teams are close to that, but consistently, maybe not as consistent, let's say it like that, than the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, I mean, and the only argument I would have about LAFC is we've seen in the past, they fall short when teams come in like a Seattle Sounders who aren't in the playoffs this year and just go, you know what? We're just going to kick you. We're going to punch you. We're going to play scrappy, and we're going to see if you can figure it out. We've got enough quality. If we get 1 or 2 chances, we'll beat you. What I saw from LAFC this year, when they went through this turbulent phase where Steve Cherundolo was sitting on 18 or 19 wins, close to the first season record of 20.
They were cruising.
Somebody else. They were cruising. Then they hit a slump of like 4 or 5 games where they had some poor officiating. They had some poor circumstances. They started to get bit by like one mistake kills you, which we saw all last season from them. And then they came back out of that, which I thought was a really important growth moment for this team to be able to keep moving forward, not hit the panic button, and came out. Yeah, they didn't finish on a win against Nashville in their final game of the season, but I do think that they were solid in that one. And they just, again, they have so many different ways and so much a mix of experience. They've got depth in the bench. They've got a number of ways that they can bring in players and change the way in which they play, that it's hard to not think that this is the best LAFC team, collective team going into the playoffs that we've had so far.
I can't say otherwise. I agree with you 100%. And I'm not saying that if they won MLS Cup, I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, that quality is that clear. But maybe to be a bit of a contrarian, I'll just go with somebody else. But I also believe that Philadelphia Union could go on and do it. And I thought they got absolutely hosed last year in the playoffs because of all the COVID stuff, when they were also primed to make another run. And their matchup against whoever they play, who was it, NYCFC, would have been much different.
Yeah, I mean, and it's at this point now where one game, one match rounds and a bye really changes that dynamic, right? Like the 1 seeds or Supporter Shield winners, like when you got home and aways in the past and things like that, that might alter. You got 3 games and you're a champion. 3 games and you're a champion instead of home and aways and all that sort of stuff. That it could change the dynamic of that, but they still got to be able to deliver. And we talked to Kellen Acosta where he's mentioning, you want to be able to play those games 10 days between matches after a loss can't feel good, while another team is coming into your match grooving
already
because
cutting
they had
their
to beat
teeth.
somebody. Yeah.
100%. And we've seen that time and again. We saw it last year with the New England Revolution, who were the Supporters Shield winners. And they had to wait, 20-something days before they played their first playoff game. And it showed. They just didn't look as sharp as the team they were playing against. And that proved to be the difference.